Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne's Sharp World, where today we're taking a look at a very highly anticipated Civivi. That is none other than the Civivi Elementum button lock. Now, before I go any further in this review, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in today. If you like what you see, please do me a huge favor, smash that subscribe button, follow along, and I'm going to continue to bring you guys the content. Now, let's take a look at some overall specs on this very different Elementum we have right here. We have an overall length of 8 inches with a blade length of 3.5 inches and a cutting edge of 3.25 inches. We have a blade width coming in at 1 inch with a blade thickness at 0.12 inches. Blade steel being 14C28N. I love seeing that spec when I'm reading the list of a Civivi product. That is music to my ears. We have a blade style of drop point with a hollow grind, a very nice Civivi hollow grind. We have a handle length coming in at 4.5 inches with a handle thickness at 0.44 inches. We have a handle width of 0.875 inches with a handle material of some much better micarta. We have a user of a tip-up right or left-hand carry, weight coming in at 3.42 ounces, and a price of $66.30. Now, let's take a look at some quick size comparisons here. We have a couple other Civivis. One of my new all-time favorites, the Civivi Brazen, as well as another one of my new all-time favorites, the Civivi Riffle. And as you can see, this it's kind of weird seeing a Civivi, or a Civivi, or all Civivis, to see an Elementum of some sort sitting in between these two, because it is just completely stretched. So very, very different, but still, I like it a lot. Now, let's take a look at one knife out of the brand here. Let's take a look at a CJRB Feldspar. And as you can see, very, very similar to the Feldspar in length. Very similar in length. That's about where the comparisons stop there, though. And, of course, you know I got to throw this in there. My regular Elementum. And as you guys can see, this is even the Micarta. We're going to bring this back for a little more comparison here. Look at this guy. Look at the work I put on that. I always say I can sweat the crap out of some D2 and rust it all up. That's what I do. That's my thing. I can't stop. But regardless, this is not D2, this is 14C28N, which is why I love it. But as you can see, it's obviously very similar. There are some differences. We'll talk about the differences between the regular Elementum and the button lock as we go through our review here of the button lock Elementum. But this will make for some good reference points as we move along. Now, let's talk about this blade, because in all honesty, this blade is everything we already know and love about the regular Elementum, just longer. And we all know that longer is always better. Am I right? Or at least that's what I've heard. Not told, unfortunately, just heard. And can you guys believe I'm getting married in less than a freaking month? Okay, all right. Back to the review. Anyway, as for the blade, I mean, yeah, it is basically just a longer version of the Elementum, which is totally fine with me because what you have is just a very, very nice hollow grind that's just extended out. You got a little more blade to work with, and with a better steel, that steel being 14C28N. And there are a few differences in the lines of this knife. As you can see, the tip up along the grind lines, I think it has to do with the length. See if I can hold these together here and get a good grip. But as you can see, the grind line kind of, it curves a little. Maybe it isn't really that different. It looks a little different to me. I think that may just be something that sticks out to the naked eye when you're looking at them and actually comparing them. But yeah, maybe they're not. Maybe they are. I think they are just the same. I think maybe the finish on the blade, too, also has something to do with it. So, yeah, pretty much the same blade, just obviously longer, and considerably longer because you got a 3.25-inch cutting edge to where, God, it's been a minute since I don't even know if I've ever fully reviewed this Elementum, but it's definitely under 3 inches. I want to say it's like 2.8, 2.9 inches. So you're getting a significant more amount of cutting length and just overall blade here with the button lock version. And the only real big difference is the lack of finger choil you have here. There's basically no finger choil, and I do really like that about the original Elementum, and I am gonna admit I miss that on this knife. Even though you have a much longer handle, you guys know I love finger choils, and to me, this finger choil was fine. There was nothing wrong with this. I mean, yeah, it wasn't a Ferrum Forge full cutout, but I loved it. It was a great place. It fit fantastic in my hand. There's a lot of things I still love about the Elementum, and unfortunately, that didn't carry over into the handle of this guy. I mean, you can still kind of do it, but then I don't know. Yeah, definitely don't feel the same. You're missing that extra little support at the bottom there for your finger, but I guess you still can kind of do it. Definitely feels better in this position right here, though. So yeah, that's basically the blade. There's really not a lot to talk about with the blade. It's got the nice hollow grind. It's got the nice, very sharp edge, really good slicer. So it's your typical good Elementum blade, just elongated. And as for the handles and ergos, they're pretty good. They're average but solid. I can't really knock it because I just said how much I love the ergos of the regular Elementum, even minus the choil. It's still pretty good. One of the things I was worried about was where the button would fall in when I actually had it in my hand, and there's nothing to worry about there. Absolutely nothing to worry about. Another thing that's worth mentioning while we're here, this button is not cheap. I thought it would be some type of cheap plastic, and I'm pretty sure that's some type of metal. I'm pretty sure that's stainless steel. And while we're in here, let's take a look at just what we got. So this is kind of the way they have it set up, to where it is a true button lock. You don't have this blade, when it's closed, it's locked in there. If you can kind of see how that's working, it is completely locked in there in place. And it's a pretty safe way to operate a knife, I will say. Then you just push it, and you have to keep the button pushed down the entire time to flip it out. But as you can see there, you kind of get the lip. It kind of works like a regular button lock in some ways, but then it's also very different in terms of deployment, which we will get to when we get to the action. But I thought it was worth giving a quick little look in there, even though not the most telling thing in the world, but just to see exactly how it's working. But yeah, nice quality button. You don't have to worry about that wearing down on you over time. And the micarta on these are much nicer, much grippier and tackier. I like these. I think it's going to patina really well. The micarta that came on my original Elementum, as you can see, this is actually kind of under the clip, is more what it looked like when it came in originally, and there was like too much epoxy and not enough material. I don't know, it almost felt like more like a plastic with a design in it than an actual true micarta. So it looked all right, but it didn't feel good. This is more sweat just drying out the front of it. But the back is just dark and not much texture or anything. This is literally a night and day difference in the micarta in this guy compared to the original Elementum. I think I could probably even zoom in and let's see. It's kind of hard to tell. It looks kind of flat on this video, but I promise you guys, you feel a good amount of texture and just tackiness and grip to it. Very, very nice. A nice upgraded, more quality micarta they're putting on these, and they're still keeping it $66. So a lot of good things going on there. And it's pretty good. I will say I feel the clip a little more than I want to, more so just the ramp, and I don't really know why. Civivi's kind of weird with me on that. It's like sometimes I feel the clip more than I want. Other times, obviously you know what's there, but it doesn't bother me. On this one, the ramp sticks up just a little more. I don't know, kind of bothers me. It's hitting a little different part of my hand to where I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I wouldn't consider it a hot spot. Just wish it was a little more of a milder feel. But other than that, yeah, pretty typical Civivi quality and build when it comes to the handle. No real issue. I like how Civivi, they made these liners a little proud, but they didn't make them too proud to where you still feel like when I'm running my hand along the side here, I'm still feeling the edges of the micarta giving a little grip, as to where some other brands make liners so proud to where you feel just the liners and it gets really, really slick. I still feel the micarta a little, and the micarta is thick enough to where the proud liners still aren't dominant. You still get a nice feeling of both in hand and have a good grip on the knife. So that's very, very nice. And now going into the action, when it comes to this action, it's not your typical Civivi crisp perfection because there's no detent. For what it is, it's good. For what it is, it's good. And this was my biggest question about this knife was, would I really like it? It obviously guillotine shuts, as it should. But you definitely have to make sure if you like halfway press this, it'll get stuck and it'll just stop. You have to fully press the button down the whole time. So it takes a little pressure on your finger to do that, but I mean, it's a button. I mean, that's kind of how buttons work. Without pressure, they're not going to operate. But yeah, I like it. I'll be honest, I don't love it. I was worried if I'd even like it at all, to be honest, because I definitely love multiple deployment methods on a knife. Now, the way Civivi set this button lock up, that's just not possible because, like I said, it locks in there. So you can't have a flipper, you can't have a front flipper, you can't have thumb studs without changing the way they engineered this lock here. And you know what, like I said, for what it is, I'm okay with it. It works well enough. Once you get used to it, it's pretty easy. Yeah, really no issue with it. It's just, it's different, and it's one of those things to where it's going to take some time to get used to. But all in all, I mean, since I've only had it for a couple days, it's really good. It is really good, and it does have a strong fidget factor. It's just one fidget factor, which is the button here. So, I don't think it's for everybody, but I think it's going to be for a lot of people. When I say that, I'll just move into my overall thoughts right now because there's really nothing else to say about the action because it is, super drop shut. You press the button in, flings right out. So it is running on bearings, of course, as any Civivi does. So, all that's good in the action department. As far as my overall thoughts, I like it, but I don't love it. Now, I also want to follow up to where I think I'm going to be in the minority when it comes to people who like it or love it. I think this is going to be a pretty highly liked knife by a lot of people. Maybe loved, I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see how everyone else, their opinions of this are. Mine are good. They're not, I don't think it's definitely not one of my top 5 favorite Civivis of all time. Not even close. I don't know. It's just not completely my cup of tea. But again, I'm going to give Civivi credit here, and a lot of credit, because they had a unique idea. They executed it. They implemented very good quality. They kept it to the Civivi standards, and it ended up really well. And personally, I wish they would just come out with an Elementum just like this, with a button lock, the style of the ProTech Malibu. Now that would be more in my line. That I would love that, because I like this enough to know that if I had a flipper on this, and even thumb studs or a front flipper, some other way of deployment, that would be pretty stinking awesome. I would love that, because the close is great. The close I love. The closing this, I'll be completely honest, is very similar to the ProTech Malibu. Not exactly the same, but I tell you what, it's really not that different. Very similar. Which is very impressive. So you got a lot of good things going on with it. I'm gonna have to carry this a little more and see exactly if it can maybe crack my top 10 of Civivis. All in all, though, this knife is a win for Civivi, and it's no real surprise. It's also going to be a win for one of you as well, because while I may have this in the pocket a little, I'm going to keep it in pretty good shape, because this is going to be part of my giveaway package for my 5,000 subscriber giveaway celebration, which is coming up pretty soon. At the time I'm recording this, I think I'm at like 4,890 subscribers, so I'm only 110 subscribers away. If you guys aren't following me, or if you're not subscribed to me, hit that subscribe button. There's going to be some pretty good giveaways in this giveaway. Got this knife. I've got a Finch coming up. Finch has been a great support of the channel, and I've got a couple other things that I think you guys will like. So that's coming up. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and give yourself a chance to win this at some point down the road, which is going to be pretty soon. I'm expecting to hit that 5,000 sub mark probably sometime next month, I think. So really excited for that. very pleased with this knife overall. I am happy with it. I do like it. The Civivi Elementum button lock. Let me know what you guys think. I'm sure a lot of you have, these things have been selling out like crazy at a lot of places, so there's a very good chance a lot of you have these. Let me know what you think. Do you guys like this? Do you want to see Civivi do more with this? I personally do. I really do want to see him do more, but I want to see him incorporate that flipper tab and thumb studs. Make it a true fidget beast. But as for this knife goes, it is a winner. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And until the next one, I'm out.